How's it going, bro dogs and ho cats? Hope you all enjoyed that short before and after, as quick as it was. You may have gotten some insight there as to how I altered the landscape. It wasn't the greatest editing job. I probably, in the before, I could have just taken like a still shot. But anyway, here we are. And I guess we'll begin with the river, and the creek, and the pond, and everything. And with this episode, and somewhat this series, it is called Minecraft Done Sexy. I do want to demonstrate ways that you can improve your landscape. Now, some of these methods do take a lot of time and attention to detail, and sometimes people just don't care for that. If you watch Arcus, he does building similar to this on his creative Minecraft, where he's building the public server. So he has a series on that, and I'll actually link that in the description, even though he has way more views than I do. But it did draw inspiration as to how I could alter this landscape. I think I do things quite differently, and I'll kind of talk about that here. But there are a few things that aren't finished and things that I need to alter. Excuse me, sorry about that. First is the creek here. I don't like the way that it looks, particularly in this area. And then as we go on down further, this does look a little bit better as to what I want. I want an effect that kind of just shows it trickling down, but what I don't like in particular is how this section ended up, because the water is kind of going at an angle, which is not really realistic. I also need to fix up the creek here in general with the depth of it. In the past, I've gone for a style that has like different points that are deeper than others, and I think while that's true in real life, I think in Minecraft, and certainly most times in general, yeah, this kind of just goes at an angle, which is strange. Is that creeks will have, like, the way that they work and the way that rivers are formed in general is, you have low points meeting each other, and then some type of weather change that created where rain falls off to create this body of water, and then the two sides they gradually get lower, like an embankment, kind of like as you see here, which I think most of the banks that I did here are okay. I could still do some alterations, and then the actual depth of the water gets lower as you approach like a middle point, if that makes any sense. It's just physics basically, and what I do here is I have these random depths, which is somewhat true in real life, but I think it'll just look better if, say, like, it progressively gets more depth with the width of it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really explaining that well. I am getting some lag, and I don't really know why at all. 13 FPS. It's very strange. It just, like, as I'm recording, just randomly the FPS drops significantly. Give me 1 second. I need to I need to alter this. Sorry. 1 second. Okay, things seem to be a little bit better. Alright, so what I want to do, hopefully the FPS doesn't continue to drop, I just kind of want to talk about the different elements of this and what you can do in your worlds to improve upon general landscaping. So you'll see in a lot of examples, in a lot of servers and whatnot, people going with this style of path. However, what they usually do is create something that's much easier and less time consuming, and also is broken up more by grass, which I think in vanilla doesn't look the greatest. And the style that I go here, doesn't have to be something that gets copied or anything. I just think it works for me, and I really love it. The points of interest I want to mention the most are probably the different elevation changes. So, and with the before, I don't think you got like a full idea of how this was set up. But for instance, this right here was all flat. This was all flat ground. And what I did is I realized, alright, so we have this very flat plane here. how can we break that up? There's a river to the side. Naturally, things would be sloping downwards. How can we make that fit a little bit? Make it a little bit rustic. The path I'm going for here definitely has those rustic and aged elements to it. It's kind of like a European road. A lot of older European roads do tend to have some, they'll have some bricks randomly, they'll have some dirt, some mud. This isn't true of every road, I'm not trying to stereotype, but if you've ever watched like the Tour de France, sometimes you can see that. It's difficult to tell, but the roads are definitely a lot different there than they are here in America, where everything is just paved, which I think is really cool. And so in a world like Minecraft, I kind of want to demonstrate that. So what I did is I gradually sloped this down. You want to be careful that you don't have like something like that. It might look okay, but the issue is just actually traveling. You get bumps in the roads and it's not very pleasant, and it doesn't feel natural. So basically, I like to create these. If you notice, like the entire hill here is going downwards, and that's why I think having this creek run alongside is really sweet, because it flows with the landscape, and then there's higher points here, so it actually makes sense the way that I set it up. Initially this area was just all flat, and I want to add a point of interest here. And basically the idea with this series is also to provide some function too. So a lot of these elements are purely aesthetic, but the roads themselves will actually lead to different places. This one you'll see in some future episodes where I go exploring. I've actually visited some caves in that area, and there's some really cool ravines, and you start to get into some mountainous territory and some different biomes. There's a desert one over there, a swamp over there, and then some mountains and whatnot. So definitely this path, it might get altered as it goes on, just because it obviously does take a long time. This kind of style of naturally building is much more suited to a creative than survival. But basically here you just have an embankment. The banks, I wanted to create a feel of, like, in real life, if you have a river, there's some tall grass and whatnot next to the creek itself, because usually those areas are enriched with moisture and whatnot, so there's a lot of growth there. So either that, or they are eroding and are completely dry. It's one of the two usually. So this feel here, which I still need to work out quite a bit, and definitely the actual creek itself, I wanted to get the sides of it a feel of that growth, and I also added some token Minecraft stuff like the pumpkins and everything. Those don't have to be there by any means. You got some reeds, which I think fill it in nicely and have a nice background to the acacia trees here. Which initially I had much more, and there was like an actual, like, see how these connect together, the treetops. There was a lot of trees here initially, and then I slowly cleared it out. Down here you get this nice descent to the river, which I like. And then here, which is the most recent thing that I've created, excuse me, it's early in the morning. This is something I really think is awesome, and people neglect to do ever with Minecraft, and just be creative and imaginative. There are a few things that I still need to work out that I'll point out that I can do over time. But initially, this was all dirt, as you may see in the before. And what I did is I outcropped it, and I realized that there was smooth stone underneath, and I wanted to expose that. And I then realized that I wanted to create a pathway towards the village over there. Basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a separate area out this direction, and I'll get to that in a second. That's separate from the village. That's stuff that I will build. I still will tweak the village, and you'll see that in a second, but I want to have like my house over there, and then gradually, like along this pathway and whatnot, there will be buildings and with different purposes and everything. kind of creating my own village. But as we go down here, I could have easily just made a pathway on top or not even done anything, because technically, like, you don't need that in Minecraft. You don't have to have a pathway. You could go wherever you want, you know what I mean? But I wanted to kind of bind it by something really creative, and just kind of make this look fucking cool. Like, I really love this. The materials that I chose here, particularly for this pathway, is all about texture and patterns. Like, you don't want to repeat things too often. If I had a shit ton of, like you can see here, there's a lot of cobble, which I think is fine with the way that this works. But you don't want to have too many areas that are of one material, and you want to break it up. But it doesn't. You need to have some semblance of a pattern or a dense area to it. Occasionally that gets broken up. You know, I have a random slab right here and whatnot. But you know, I have usually if I have gravel, it's going to be in patches or by itself. Gravel, I think the way that the texture is in vanilla is really sweet and looks really great alongside smooth stone and cobble in particular. The bricks here are kind of just to provide like some structure and to showcase, you know, there may have been a fully paved road here with bricks at one point, and then over time it just gets worn down and beaten. So I wanted to go for that beaten path kind of look. But as we go into the cave here, there are still some things that I want to work out, and I'll point those out. But primarily, I just wanted a really cool elevation change, where this pathway doesn't just do what normal things have done. As I developed it, I worked mostly on the actual floor, because that was the most important thing to me. And really, you can use stairs and half slabs to their fullest and create what would normally be, you know, a block, maybe a stair, and then a block into a something that feels like it's rapidly going up in height. You know, like this would look like an actual cave. You have to use your imagination a little bit, but you know, clearly you can tell that as this is rising up, everything is going along with it. And I really like that. Like, it feels natural to me anyway. And as we go along here, it's this nice gradual increase, and not a prosthetic feeling of just stairs. You know, if this was an actual cave in real life, granted, it probably would not look anywhere close to this. But in Minecraft terms, like, you're getting that feel of descending, you know, or ascending up here. Whereas if you just have stairs and then a floor and then another flight, if you will, then it just feels man-made. Which you can actually go for that in a lot of instances, but here I wanted to feel like something was previously here due to time and whatnot. So another thing I want to point out is the walls and the structure of it all. Here I created a point of interest with the excuse me, with the cobble, and everything in here material-wise was made out of stone until I realized that the acacia wood texture it matches really closely with all of these materials, which I think is really cool. And what I wanted to do is provide that in here because it gets a sense that something maybe was crafted, just so that humans could traverse here, or Steves or whatever. So I have these as kind of supports, and they're just a different texture that goes along, I think, really nicely with the with what we have here. So I have, you know, the cobble structures, and I created, you know, the little stairs, just something very minimal. You have the gravel in the background. It's depth, basically. You're creating depth and layers, which in real life is what caves would be made of. So I think that's really sweet. Some other touches I want to point out are the water dripping here, and I think like right here. You could even put them more spaced out, and I kind of want to do something there as well. This roof is not completely finished. The other thing that I want to note is the lighting, which I'm not happy about. And what I kind of want to do is make it a little bit more man-made. So you have this rustic cave, right? And what I want to do is, when I finally go to the nether, get some glowstone and maybe some lamps of glowstone that hang from the ceiling or something, to make it feel that, yeah, something was placed here by a human to create light so that you could navigate through here to get back to the village. It just kind of makes sense. There is some insane lag. I don't understand. So hopefully that doesn't show up too bad on the video. This episode might be running long, but this is what I want to do with this series. You take something very minimal and make it, you know, kind of explain it and talk. Oh, I didn't replace whatever was supposed to be here. That's not good. No, let's get some, get some smooth stone. Yeah, that works. Sorry, it's very early. I'm waiting for the European LCS to start. It's Super Week or whatever. I have some free time. So anyway, and then this path leads here into the village. I created another elevation height here for where the doors are. There's a nice little dip here. And this definitely was inspired by Arcus. Once I saw that in his Let's Build, I just realized that, like, I've been missing out on something this entire time with Minecraft, and you can create something really cool and different that also feels amazing. So the feel of this is what I was going for. It's very, like, it feels like a cave, you know. And then another thing I want to point out, and he touches on this a little bit, but lines of sight. This just looks really, it looks, I don't know, like in real life I would kind of be afraid to go down here, which is the look that I wanted to go for, because it's a very, very fast decrease in elevation, and it's very narrow too. Like, it looks really narrow. There's only like a block or two that you can walk in this particular area, and then it opens up into this kind of sprawling cave a little bit. And then again, oh, that sound goes well with this. And then again, gradually increases. Here you kind of get the same feel if you're looking down. You don't know it's around the corner, you know what I mean? And in real life that would be intimidating, but also kind of, you would have that curious nature to it, and you'd want to go down there. It'd be one of those things, you know. Here, the path with the bridge, which, speaking of structure and whatnot, this bridge, I went for something very simple. You want to have, and here's where I want to have this is where I point out the riverbed looking a lot better, I think, like right in here than in other places, which is what I want to come across in other areas. Did I just trample that? Damn it. Do I have anything to be able to... I do. Ooh, I got 4 potatoes out of that. That's sweet. Potatoes are awesome. Freaking awesome. Baked potatoes, anyway. So I like this. It's a very simple bridge, very easy to build and construct. And then here, which is kind of the reveal for the end of the episode here, going on. It is drawing on quite a bit. Oh, the last thing is just the beds here. I have a lot of different vegetation, which kind of looks like, you know, a lot of places in the world that aren't necessarily progressed as like America, for instance. When they do crops, they'll set they're setting crops off of water, like a large water source, and so the embankments sometimes can be filled with crops and everything. You even see that even in America and everything, and so you kind of get that feel here. The reeds break it up a little bit, make it feel like you're in a dense forest when it's very wide open, you know. It just gets that feel to it. And then the creek just nicely continues around and settles out in this pond. I have some logs there to separate that. But anyway, this path will be going out in this direction. And what I have here is something I discovered the other day. Horses. Oh my god, there's quite a few of them, and hopefully they stay here for a while. What I want to have in this area is just a nice big landscape, a horse pasture, keep a lot of them wild, and then tame some of them into my own area. There's some caves and whatnot. There's like a ravine over here too. There's a lot of ravines in this area, so this is just a really cool place to end, I think. The fact that we have horses so close to spawn. I mean, just look at the F3, 415, 255. Like, it was very close. This village and everything, I was kind of lucky. These trees were just to gather wood at, and I need to collect those. Here, I also, will be the last thing I point out, I have some cows and sheep, and which is nice. I'm going to have to make actual pens for those. As the sun is setting here, we'll wrap up a little bit. The pathway, I think there might be something here that extends in that direction. I'm not sure to what destination, but just there might be something that goes in that direction, which would be cool. And as we wrap up, let me put these in here. Do I have any? We'll just use this. Does that work? Sure. Excuse me. As we wrap up here, last thing I want to point out is just hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it kind of inspires your creativity a little bit. And this is just a final picture of this landscape, which is kind of where we left off in the before. Lighting still needs to be worked out. I still need to get some bone meal. This area will be bone mealed. And then maybe next episode we will start on an actual house for ourselves in this area here, which I think will be fun, and it'll be quite a bit different than what we've been doing here. And I'm going to keep it fresh. So this is just something that to keep in mind. It looks broken. It looks like a beaten path settled along this nice countryside here. And it makes sense with the, it's a dip in the landscape. So you'd feel like there would be a body of water here, which I think is kind of cool, starting from like a spring-like area. I kind of had plans to connect that to a river, but the closest river is very far away in that direction, next to the ravines and whatnot. So I also did some, and I don't have it in my inventory here. Last final thing I'll show you, since this is a survival world, to keep that feel to it, even though it's very much focused on building. I have a diamond pickaxe, which I'm going to have to mine eventually, or get some things with, and 4 diamond. I haven't used it yet, have I? Okay, I haven't used it. So you can see I'm level 42. It's been a while since I died, because I go to sleep immediately when it turns night. I do want to get the lighting worked out for a lot of these areas to look sweet at nighttime, but that'll come with time when I go to the nether. The goal is, I have that diamond pick. I'm going to collect some obsidian, and I got a lot of iron with that caving adventure. I'm going to collect some obsidian and make a enchanting and all that good stuff, and finally start doing. I'm going to have to do some hardcore mining at some point, which is going to be frustrating. It's not my thing. I do kind of enjoy it every now and then just for the thrill of it. But some part of me wishes this could be a creative, but I don't. I like having the survival aspect to it. It feels more at home. So anyway, I'm going to end on this note. I do appreciate you guys for watching. Share this with your friends, with your Minecraft buddies. Let them know of this kind of style. Very minute, very minimal, but it turns out to be pretty impactful on just a very simple landscape, and it kind of transforms it. So thank you all for watching. This has been Xeo. Peace. Have a good day, guys.